Moving on to player reviews, and Ola Aina played 30 minutes for Nottingham Forest last week Tuesday before he was taken off injured. Taiwo Awoniyi played 86 minutes as Nottingham Forest beat Manchester United 1-0, courtesy of Anthony Elanga goal. Always nice for a player to dunk on his old team. Nuno then said that Taiwo is dealing with a hamstring injury. And he'll be monitored. So that meant that on Saturday, both Ola Aina and Taiwo Awoniyi were not in the squad as Nottingham Forest lost 2-1 to Aston Villa. You take Ola Aina out of the team, see what happens, So we wish Ola Aina a speedy recovery. He's expected to be out for 2 weeks, so we'll monitor this space and see when next he's back. But it's unlikely he'll be back for the game against Everton on Saturday, 3 p.m. I've already spoken about Alex Iwobi's exploits yesterday for Fulham. Calvin Bassey was also immense. I think he was even named man of the match, if I'm not mistaken. Calvin Bassey was excellent, honestly. He didn't put a foot wrong at all. And he's just a fantastic player, man. Also, earlier in the week, Fulham did lose 2-1 to Arsenal on Tuesday. Alex Iwobi came off the bench to play 23 minutes and Calvin Bassey was an unused sub. But of course, Arsenal, we now drew to Everton on Saturday, basically rendering the fixture useless. As for Leicester, Wilfred Ndidi played 90 minutes as Leicester beat Man City. Lost, which did Leicester win? Leicester lost 2-0 to Man City on Wednesday. He will definitely play tonight as they play Newcastle. But of course, it looks like Leicester are more or less doomed to relegation. They're currently, I think, 15 points behind Wolverhampton. So even if they won all their remaining games, it's going to be very, very tricky for them to stay up. And honestly, good riddance. They've been shocking. That's all I can say. As I already mentioned, Onuachu scored in the midweek for Southampton in their 2-2 draw against Palace. Sorry, it was 1-1, by the way. Crystal Palace then scored a last-minute equalizer through Matthias Franca. And then, as I said, both of them played yesterday as Southampton lost 3-1 to Tottenham to officially be relegated. No team has ever been relegated this quickly in Premier League history. Just to tell you how useless Southampton have been. Honestly, they've stunk up the Prem so bad. And then earlier today, they now announced that they've sacked their manager, Ivan Juric. What's the point? Like, honestly, just go back to championship, man, and I hope they don't come back for a while. They need to take a good, long, hard look in the mirror at how awful they've been. Other results to be aware about, I won't touch on the midweek fixtures because everybody should know about them. But over the weekend, as I said, Arsenal drew 1-1 against Everton. We saw Wolverhampton beat Ipswich Town 2-1. We saw Crystal Palace beat Brighton 2-1 in a very, very entertaining game. West Ham and Bournemouth played a 2-2 draw. Aston Villa beat Nottingham Forest 2-1, which I already mentioned. We saw the Tottenham boys beat Southampton 3-1, which I already mentioned. Brentford and Chelsea played a drab 0-0 draw yesterday. Fulham beat Liverpool, as I mentioned, with the Iwobi. And then, as if it couldn't get worse, we then had one of the worst Manchester derbies I've ever seen in my life. Man United and Man City drawing 0-0. There will be a Leicester City-Newcastle game tonight, so look out for that one. And then the game week 32 fixtures to be aware about coming up over the weekend. Man City will host Crystal Palace at home at this Etihad Stadium. We've got about 3 p.m. kickoffs on Saturday. Southampton hosts Aston Villa. Aston Villa are still in the hunt for Europe. Nottingham Forest hosts Everton as they look to consolidate third place. And then Brighton will host Leicester City. Brighton have fallen off the cliff slightly recently in terms of their push for Europe, but they'll be expecting to get 3 points against Leicester City. The late Saturday kickoff at 5:30 will see Arsenal host Brentford at the Emirates, but of course our focus is fully on Real Madrid tomorrow. On Sunday, we've got 2 p.m. games. Chelsea hosts Ipswich Town at Stamford Bridge. Wolverhampton hosts Tottenham at the Molineux Stadium, and Liverpool hosts West Ham at Anfield as they look to get their title challenge. I mean, it's already on track, but just get back to winning ways as they need 11 more points to win the title. If they make any mistakes against West Ham and Arsenal win, it could be a bit squeaky bum timey because Arsenal still have to go to Anfield, but it's very likely Liverpool are going to smash West Ham anyway. And then we'll see Newcastle host Man United at St. James's Park, but you would probably fancy Newcastle, but time will tell. And then the Monday night fixture will be Bournemouth hosting Fulham. As for the table, as I said, Liverpool are 11 points above Arsenal. Procession to the title. Arsenal are on 62 points, second. 5-point lead over Nottingham Forest in third. And Nottingham Forest do have a 4-point lead over Chelsea, who are currently fourth. Man City are 1 point behind Chelsea in fifth. And then Aston Villa are 1 point behind in sixth. However, the caveat here is Newcastle. If Newcastle win tonight, they will go level on points with Chelsea and bump City down to sixth. They also have a game in hand. So if they win that game in hand, it means that Newcastle will be in the driving seat for that fourth Champions League space. But remember, it's more than likely that there will be 5 teams in the Champions League from the Premier League next season. So for finishing fifth should be good enough for a Champions League spot. Relegation, no need to talk about them, man. All the promoted teams are so useless. They just need to go back down where they came from, man. In Serie A, as I already said, Atalanta lost to Lazio 1-0 yesterday. It wasn't Lookman's best game. Atalanta could even drop to fourth if Bologna beat Napoli tonight. That's how bad Atalanta are falling off a cliff. Let's see what they could do, though, because Atalanta's next game is ironically against Bologna on Sunday, 11:30 a.m. So basically the battle for Champions League spots. As of Isaiah Delibashi, we already mentioned his exploits yesterday with getting the assist for Lazio. Let's see if he starts the game against Bodo Glimt on Thursday in the Europa League quarterfinal, or if he gets some game time when they play Roma at home in the Rome derby. That's going to be a big one. As for Chukwueze, he came off the bench in 87th minute as AC Milan drew 1-1 against Inter Milan in the first leg of the Coppa Italia semi-final on Wednesday. So let's see what happens in the second leg. But then over the weekend, man, AC Milan somehow managed to draw Fiorentina 2-2. They were losing this game 2-0. They were buried and gone. And honestly, Chukwueze did not do anything. I watched the match, man. He only played 10 minutes, but it was not 10 minutes to write up about. I hate to say it. So we go again. Let's see what happens when Chukwueze's AC Milan go away to play Maduka Okoye's Udinese on Friday. As for Maduka Okoye, he made 6 saves, but that was not enough to prevent Udinese from losing 1-0 to Genoa on Friday. Next up for them, they play AC Milan at home, so let's see if he could get the better of Chukwueze in that game. In the Bundesliga, Boniface and Eventhaler both came off the bench for Leverkusen in their 2-1 loss to Arminia Bielefeld, who are a third division team in Germany, who actually beat Bayer Leverkusen 2-1 in the DFB Pokal semi-final. So Bayer Leverkusen are likely to end the season trophyless. We even saw clips of Xhaka and Ifan having a go at each other. So, man, Leverkusen, they just need to retool for the week. Both of them played 68 minutes, though, and started as Leverkusen beat Heidenheim 1-0 over the weekend. But they remain 6 points behind Bayern Munich, so it looks more likely that ship has sailed. Next up for them, though, they play Union Berlin on Saturday, so let's see how they get on in that game. As for Franco Yeka, played 81 minutes as Aalborg lost 3-1 to Bayern Munich on Friday. This game was so unlucky, Aalborg scored first, and then it was 1-1. And the next thing you know, the ref gives one dodgy red card to Aalborg. The player got a bit of the ball, but they claim he was reckless in his challenge for Harry Kane. He already had a yellow card. Next thing you know, they give him another yellow. So he's sent off. The free kick that Bayern Munich took from that setting off, Harry Kane made it 2-1. Because Olise played a fantastic cross to him, and Harry Kane made it 2-1. By the time, obviously, Aalborg, they're deflated. This is a team that haven't lost in like 7 games. Next thing you know, Bayern Munich wrap up the win in stoppage time and make it 3-1. So, just unlucky and unfortunate is all I can say. And better luck for Onyeka and Co when they play Bochum away on Saturday. As for Gift Urban and Akpoguma, they both played minimum minutes. Akpoguma played 45 minutes and Urban played 14 minutes as Hoffenheim lost 3-1 to RB Leipzig on Saturday. Leipzig just had new manager bounce after sacking Marco Rosa. So if I'm Hoffenheim, dust yourself up and go again. So they play Mainz at home on Saturday. In La Liga, Omar Sadiq played 59 minutes. He also got a yellow card as Valencia won their first away game of the season and their first win against Real Madrid in 17 years at the Santiago Bernabeu in a 2-1 win on Saturday. Hugo Duro scoring a great goal in the 95th minute to steal the win for Valencia, who have now climbed up 15th place and have a lot more room to breathe in terms of the relegation fight. So fantastic result for Omar Sadiq and Valencia. What a big result for them. And I saw clips of all of them celebrating in the dressing room, which was quite lovely to see. Next up for them, they play Sevilla at home on Friday. Speaking of the Sevilla boys, Chidera Juke was brought on in the 11th minute and then taken off in the 69th minute. I'm not sure if that was injury, but that's a bit sad. While Akko Adams played 90 minutes, Sevilla lost 2-1 to Atletico Madrid on Sunday. No disgrace, still Atletico Madrid. But let's see how they get on in the battle of the Nigerian players when Valencia come to town. When Sevilla go away to Valencia on Friday night. I already spoke about Christantus Uche's exploits for Getafe. Log may continue and they play Las Palmas at home next. So he should be in a position to continue on that one. Finally, in League One, George Nkena was on the bench for Monaco as they lost 2-1 to Brest. In League One, it must be said that PSG have now been confirmed as champions. I mean, they've literally won all their games and drawn 5 games all season. So it looks like they're going to really duppy the whole league. You know, League One has changed from 20 teams to 18 teams. So there's only 34 games to play. And I believe there's only 5 or 6 games left. So it's pretty much done and dusted. And congratulations to PSG for an exceptional league campaign. Even after losing Mbappe. Yes, it's always theirs for the taking in the league. But it's still have to deliver, because if you don't do it, they'll whine you. Same way we're looking at Bayern Munich from last year, you know, or Ajax over the previous seasons until this year where they're going to win it again. So shout out to PSG. I already spoke about Moses Simon's exploits, and they have no game this weekend. As for Gabriel Oshoi, he was on the bench as Auxerre beat Rennes 1-0. Really, really good result for them. Next up with them, they play Lyon on Sunday. Hamza Al-Jadeiron came off the bench in the 86th minute and got a yellow card as Lens beat Saint-Etienne 1-0 on Sunday. So really good result for Lens. They're now 9th in the league. Thierry Murphy also played 18 minutes off the bench as Nice lost 2-1 to Nantes on Friday. So let's see if they could get better luck when they play Strasbourg away on Saturday, because they're still in the hunt for one of the Champions League places. France only get 3, at least automatically. So watch out for this space. And of course, we spoke about Hafiz Ibrahim's exploits for Reims against Cannes in the French Cup. They will play PSG in the final though. So, you know, you never know. There might be another upset on the cards. But the good thing to see is he also played 82 minutes for Reims on Sunday, but they did lose 1-0 to Strasbourg. Anyway, next up, he'll be playing away against Lens, so it'll be Hamza Al-Jadeiron versus Hafiz Ibrahim. Look out for that game when it comes.